friends of mine. JD here, good to have you on board. I thought at 55 I was fairly well learned and schooled and worldly, having traveled all around the big blue marble. But, just things just come up from time to time. I was just talking with the guys, with Marcelo and Brad, and I did not know. I sound like Johnny Carson there. I did not know that. I did not know that there was a code on dating a buddy's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend. I didn't know. I just thought I didn't know. But I'm learning as I go forward in life at 55. Some other things I've learned recently, by the way. You ever rent a car and you don't know which side the gas tank's on?
I found out there's an arrow.
There's an arrow on the little gas pump that's on the dashboard of the car.
That's right.
And just a couple of years ago, I learned why you turn your head and cough when the doctor's giving you that down below exam. I thought it was medical. I realized when he finally told me that I had this great mystery of life circling around in my gray matter, and I wasn't sure what it was really all about until he told me, I just don't want you to cough in my face. And now I come to find out at 55, there's a code on dating a buddy's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend. Who knew? Who knew? All these things you learn as you go along in life. That's the fascinating part about life. Good to have you on board. We thank you, as always, for taking some of your time to spend it with us here on the program. We have no idea what we're going to talk about at the moment, obviously. No, we do. We got tons of stuff to get to on the show today. The program where intellectual anarchy is encouraged and nurtured for now. Marcelo working the dials. Brad producing the show. Emails at the website. And the poll question is there any other guys out there, by the way, that know this code exists? Or maybe they're just Zooming me. Is there a code, guys, or even girls, ladies, dames, broads? Is there a code on dating a buddy's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend? And if there is a code, what is it? And what do you know it to be? Because this is actually something that's not happening in my life, but it's happening in a friend of mine's life who is interested in a buddy's ex-wife. And I'm like, really? I didn't think that there was anything wrong with it, but apparently I didn't know the code.
There's nothing
and
wrong
now
with
that
it.
There's nothing wrong with it?
Nothing wrong.
It depends upon the guy. Does it not depend upon the guy?
Yeah, you got to ask the guy. You got to ask the ex who's your friend.
Right. Like if you guys said, hey, I want to date your ex-girlfriend, I go, okay, go ahead. Wouldn't bother me. But maybe it depends upon how the guy views it. Maybe if the guy's still in love with the girl or the ex-wife, or maybe if he still has feelings for the girlfriend, ex-girlfriend or the ex-wife, maybe that's where it's like off limits or something like that. But if it's just, because it's an ex-wife, it's an ex-girlfriend. It's almost like, a do-over.
Yeah, but couldn't you just go find another woman? Why that one?
Well, why not?
I'd sell my friend. I'd sell my friend my used car.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you'd sell a friend a used car, why wouldn't you let a friend date your used ex? Ex is the word I'm looking for. Ex, not used wife or used girlfriend. 800-876-4123 is the number. Poll question up there for you today at the website. The Golden Girls' Betty White, age 90. She came in first in a survey of retired and soon-to-retire Americans, that would be 45 years and older, who were asked to choose a role model. So I asked the question, which of the following was their top reason for choosing Betty White at age 90? We think it's age 90, and even the President of the United States, President Obama, when he was congratulating Betty White on turning 90 years old, wanted to make sure of what her real age was.
Dear Betty, you look so fantastic and full of energy. I can't believe you're 90 years old. In fact, I don't believe it. That's why I'm writing to ask if you will be willing to produce a copy of your long-form birth certificate. Thanks, and happy birthday, no matter how old you are.
Now, I know there are Obama haters out there, but you got to admit, that was funny.
That was funny.
The guy has a decent sense of humor. Now, that's a little bit of a clue to the poll question here. What's the reason, the top reason, that this surveyed group, 45 plus, they split it into categories: under $250,000 a year in income, over $250,000, men, women, ethnic breakdown. She won in every category across the board because of this one quality. Is it she's a humanitarian? 3% say that's the reason, which she is, by the way. She's a big animal advocate. 18% say it's because she's strong and resilient. 8% say it's because she's fit and fabulous. 33% say because she's a free spirit. And 38% say it's because she knows how to laugh. That's the answer. I'll give it away now. Give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now. Little Red Hot Chili Peppers there for you. But she knows how to laugh. And I think that's really important right now. As I watched the debate the other night, and it was interesting. It was fun, and the crowd was raucous, and I liked it. The Coliseum, the Lions and the Christians, thumbs up, thumbs down. We're going to be treated to another one tomorrow night, right? Is it tomorrow night? There's another one already? CNN debate?
Yeah, tomorrow night. Yeah.
Tomorrow night, and then there's another one like 2 days after that, and then there's another one like 2 or 3 days after that, and then there's another one like 2 weeks after that, and then that's that for like a... I'm looking at these debates, and I'm going, is anybody out there having any fun? And you got to think about where we're at right now as a nation. We've been through economic hell. I equate it to a prison sentence. And for those of you who have heard this in the past, it's worth repeating. When Martha Stewart went to jail for the insider trading deal on ImClone, she went for supposed to be 6 months. I think she did 5 at the Alderson Women's Prison. And everybody that was around Martha Stewart at the time, by the way, Betty White beat out Martha Stewart and George Foreman and Jimmy Carter, and I'll give you the list here in a second. But they told her what it was going to be like as you drove to the plane to go to the, to the prison airport, and then what it was going to be like when you walked in, and what it was going to be like when they strip search you, and when they gave you your clothing, and when they put you in the cellar, when they slammed the door, and when they fed you, and what it was going to be like the first night when you're laying there in Iraq and you're going, wow. And they coached her through every day of every week of every month, what it was going to be like at the end, what it was going to be like in the last week, the last day, the last hour, what it was going to be like as you're standing there watching the clock go backwards, waiting for that door to open so you could walk to your freedom, to get to the plane so you can go back to your home. So she knew it was a time-certain period. Kind of like dating your buddy's ex-wife or ex. Is there a time limit on that too? Is it like 3 months, 6 months, a year? No, it's just forever. Marcelo says forever.
Individual guy's grieving period. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like what if your buddy dies? And is there a grieving period on that? Is it like
really? Come on.
No, my ex-wife. In the prenuptial, I think it was a 30-day grieving period where she had to at least show for 30 days in a row that she cared, and then she could do whatever she wanted to do. Kind of knew how that one was going to go from the beginning. But who puts grieving periods after you die in the prenuptial? I did, because I married an actress. Anyway, nothing against actresses, but Martha Stewart knew what her prison sentence was going to be, time certain. We as a country, we as taxpayers, we as citizens, we as voters, we as people who are living in this economic prison sentence haven't been told how long it's going to be. And how long has it been since this all started to happen? This wasn't just when Obama came in January 2009. This started happening back in 2006, in the technical end of the recession in June of 2009. We've been in this economic prison sentence for a long time. And people keep saying, it's just going to get worse. It's just going to be endless. Now, it could get worse. It might get worse, especially in light of the fact that the IMF is now asking for $500 billion to bail out the European banks, which we know we have exposure to. We know we could get hit. Bank of America is pondering retreating from some areas. Like if you're in a city with 500,000 or less people, they don't think your business is worth it. Town of 500,000 or less? Not interested. Thumbs down. It could get worse, but it is getting better in certain areas. There are signs of a recovery, and people are burnt out on negativity. Note to Republicans, it's not the end of the world as we know it. You can buy into the Mayan calendar hype of December 21st because Tim Tebow and the Denver Broncos lost in the playoff game, and God had bet the universe on Denver to cover. But the reality is, it's going to end. We talked about it on the program with Dr. Richard Ebling about a week and a half ago, that sooner or later, our free market system, our capitalist system, is going to turn around. It is going to recover in spite of the damage being done by these crooks and thieves and pimps and prostitutes on Capitol Hill, and the crooks and thieves and the pimps and the prostitutes in the Treasury Department and at the Federal Reserve. Sooner or later, it's going to happen, because what's happening? Corporations are deleveraging. The government is attempting to deleverage. At least that's what they're telling us. And it looks like it's happening in some areas, not to the degree that it should. But more importantly, the consumer has spent the last 5 years deleveraging. When you take a look at debt to income ratios, when you take a look at the amount of debt that people are carrying, they're starting to get to the point where they're getting nearer the 100% debt to income. It was 124%. 84% is the best number historically that consumers should be at. They're saving more. They're spending a little bit more. They're starting to refi their houses. There are certain areas where incomes are picking up, 10 major cities in the United States where that's starting to happen. The unemployment number is going down, and you can say it's because people threw in the towel, and some of them did. But the reality is that the unemployment rate now is 8.5%. The U6 unemployment rate higher, 15.2%. But the 8.5% unemployment rate is not very far away from what the unemployment rate was when Barack Obama was sworn in as president, because it was 7.8%. I know a lot of people out there say it must have been 4 or 4.5 or 5. And there was low unemployment when George Bush was the president for a period of time. But we're not that far away from where we were when Obama was sworn in. And sooner or later, this free market capitalist system is going to start to show signs of life. Not across the board, but in selected cities, in certain economic areas, in certain pockets of our economy. And the one thing that I see missing from the Republicans right now, which is the one thing that people gave Betty White the nod for, 45 plus years old, is that she knows how to laugh. When I see Betty White, I've always watched The Golden Girls. Always loved The Golden Girls.
Great show.
I think one of the greatest shows on television. But when you look at Betty White, you laugh when she's laughing. You smile when she smiles. And when I just see her, I smile because she's got this attitude that even at 90 years old, with all the ailments she probably has and doesn't talk about, with all the things that have gone wrong in her life that she could harp on, she's 90 years old, and she's doing Snickers commercials, and she's doing TV shows. And her show the other night, the 90-minute special on NBC, was the #1 program on television that night. Why? Because Betty White knows how to laugh. And when Betty
Doyle Show.
When Betty White laughs, other people laugh. And people want to start to feel better. We've been slogging this out since 2006. We've been in this supposed recovery since June of 2009. Doom and gloom doesn't sell well. Optimism does. Mixed with reality. Because we can't turn our back on what our economic realities are and the problems that we have with this out-of-control spendthrift government. But things are turning. I know the Republicans can't say that because that might help Obama politically. But the reality is people picked Betty White over Jimmy Carter. They picked Betty White over Martha Stewart and Helen Mirren and Steven Tyler and Jack Welch and good old George Foreman. Because she knows how to laugh. 800-876-4123 is the number. A lot to get to on the show today. Jerry Doyle, join me.
Jerry Doyle.